2019, the Cardinals have the #1 overall pick. That's a spot they've never drafted from since the common draft era began in 1967.
I think they were the Chicago Cardinals the last time.
Isn't that crazy? It seems like they would have
picked #1 overall. That was way back, 50s or something like that.
You were. We won't even talk about that. Listen, the Giants, as you heard Mel say, they're at 6. There's some talk about the Giants maybe moving up for Haskins. But let's look at this. Who needs a quarterback? And what your very early thoughts are, but it'll come before we know it.
So I'm going to piggyback on what Mel said with the New York Giants at pick 6 here. We need to find a way to acquire a quarterback, be it one through the draft or free agency in some way, shape, or form. But it is not happening at pick 6, Wendy. Since over the past 18 drafts, there have been 17 instances in which a quarterback, at least one of them, has gone in the top 3. The reality is, if you're a capable quarterback prospect, you are going to be taken by pick 3, if not sooner. The only exception to those 18 drafts is the year in which E.J. Manuel was the 16th overall pick in the draft, and really he was moved up because of supply and demand. The Bills needed a quarterback. He had a great Senior Bowl. Buddy Nix, their GM at the time, made him the cherry on the top of the sundae in terms of his tenure of drafting for the Bills. But Haskins is going early, and I think the Giants have to make a move up the board to get him.
But what's interesting is when you look at these teams, I mean, a lot, especially if the Raiders stick with Derek Carr, a lot of these guys have a quarterback.
Yeah, here's what I would say, and I think most people would believe the Raiders do have a quarterback. With what's gone on with the Raiders, I think there's probably enough doubt in people's mind, whether it's real or not, whether or not they believe that's the case, which would put them as a potential team that would be interested in a quarterback. So I think it goes back to Fields' point about if you want a quarterback and you look at teams in the top 10, the Broncos would be in the mix, the Jags are in the mix, the Giants are in the mix, the Buccaneers, it sounds like they're not, but they easily could be, the Raiders could be. So that makes sense that having to get to at least 3 in order to jump these other teams, because certainly the Cardinals, Niners, and Jets are not drafting a quarterback.
Fascinating to think about the Raiders, who have all this draft capital. They've got 3 first-round picks in 2019. You almost wonder if they wish they had made the Amari Cooper trade for 2020. And the reason I mentioned that
quarterback
they would have 3 first-round picks in 2020, and regardless of how they perform next season, they would have all this capital to potentially move up and select a player like Tua, for example, or I don't think you want to wait until 2021. That'd be a lot of misery in successive years. But timing is often everything in life, and in the draft, I think Dwayne Haskins is going to benefit from a class that not a ton of star power, and he had a fine 50 touchdown passes, truly remarkable.
Yeah, it was one and done, but he certainly got it done while he was there. Coach, let me ask you about the Bucs. Now, obviously a new head coach coming in. The GM's been clear, and we could put that in quotes, if you will, that Jameis Winston's the guy. Does that change at all? And how does that affect what can happen here?
I don't think it will. I think it's kind of a prerequisite to get that job, and that's a hard one to turn back on once you get there. So I'm going to say they stand pat with Jameis. The one I really find interesting is number 10 there, the Broncos. And, they're talking about Mike Munchak possibly, or even my old coordinator, Vic Fangio. They got to get the quarterback problem solved to get that organization back to where they once were.
Let's go back to Trevor Lawrence, because I can't talk about him enough.
Sure.
Why not?
You went to Wofford. What's all that?
I went to South Carolina school. I grew up going to Clemson. Right. Anyway, let's talk about Wofford.
As we continue our Mel Kiper Sports Center special mock draft 1.0, you see the first 5 picks. We're now to number 6, and it's been quite the rise for Dwayne Haskins, the quarterback from the Buckeyes. Mel, you have him going number 6 overall to the Giants. Welcome back, Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, Trey Wingo here with you. Mel, I'm supposed to ask you what is behind his ascension, but I'm guessing 50 touchdown passes, 4,800 passing yards, and only 8 picks had something to do with it.
Yeah, not all that passes Dwayne Haskins threw hit the ground, Trey. And I think the improvement, and even dealing with some off games, like the Penn State game. And think about that game, now Todd had referenced it during the year, saying, hey, it didn't look all that great in that game. And even face side pressure bothered them at Happy Valley. They're down 26-14, 7 minutes to go in the game. I think it's all over. Dwayne Haskins, Buckeyes, they're going down to defeat. He rallied them back down 26-14 to win that football game. That was a springboard through the remainder of the year where he was going through progressions. He was climbing the pocket. Third, fourth options. He was seeing the field. Dwayne Haskins has the talent. He's only got 14 starts, but on the ascension throughout the year, the progression throughout the year, and all of the skill set you want, I think Dwayne Haskins deserves to be up there in that stratosphere of round 1.
Plus, Todd, he's got the pro body you're looking for as opposed to another quarterback we may be talking about shortly.
Right. He does fit the prototype, even though I think the prototype is getting smaller and quicker. He's got mobility. Now, he's not a great runner. He's not anywhere close to a Kyler Murray, but he's got mobility inside the pocket, and that's what's most important. The ability to slide, get away from pass rush, extend the play, and then keep his eyes down the field and see the entire field. That's what he does. And what I think he does best is his ability to throw with anticipation. I mean, he has great natural touch and timing as a passer. And to me, that you really start there, the mental makeup and then the accuracy, and he excels in both of those areas. Plus, every scout I talk to loves this guy in terms of his football character and who he is as a person.
20 seconds left. How much is Haskins going to benefit from Justin Herbert staying at Oregon?
I don't think it would have mattered. I think he would have gone ahead of Herbert. Well, I think what's going to be the interesting question is, where's it going to land in terms of the pick? Is it going to be Jacksonville moving up ahead? Are the Giants going to try to move up? How far is the team going to move up to go get him, knowing that there is a gap between Haskins and the next best quarterback?